All right, whenever you're ready.
All right. There's a famous quote. It's been put in the song. It's really famous. It's, diamonds are a girl's best friend. Now, this is probably true, but there's also another quote that's actually true as well. It's diamonds are forever, but lives are not. I'll be revealing a side of diamonds that many of you probably haven't heard, or even if you have, probably don't know too much about it today, about where diamonds come from. I want to talk to you about the cultural significance that diamonds have here in America, as well as in other industrialized nations. And I want to talk to you about the effect of that high demand of diamonds that it has on the countries that are supplying them, the raw materials, like in Africa, like Angola, Sierra Leone, and even parts of the Ivory Coast. And then I want to talk to you about maybe a proposition, a solution, something, maybe food for thought in the future when you're maybe buying a engagement ring for your future wife or receiving one. So, in the history of humans, we've been very greedy, and having a diamond or a jewel or gold in Egyptian civilizations early on was just a sign of power or a sign of wealth. So having diamonds or having some sort of raw material like that is very empowering. People look towards that. Well, here in America or in other industrialized nations, we want to feel you want to feel lavish. You want to have a nice ring, maybe a nice necklace, a nice earring. According to the Dale's advertising company, the most of the diamonds. 70% of diamonds come from Africa. Over $195 million come from raw diamonds coming from Africa. These diamonds are called conflict diamonds, or many of you guys know as blood diamonds. But on top of the jewelry that we like to lavish ourselves with, diamonds are also used for like championship rings. I didn't bring mine in today, but I wanted to. The Lakers, they win a championship. Everybody gets a ring. Everybody wins a championship. Football teams across the world, on the FIFA Gold Cup, there's diamonds on it. There's diamonds are everywhere. Why? Why is there such a high demand for diamonds? Why is there, all this, feeling of, I need this in order to, in order to be happy? I don't think that there should be. Because of this high demand, there's a huge effect that it has on Africa, especially in these parts that are called war zones. They're war zones, is what they are. Usually the militia in Africa, or in some parts where they're high mining parts of diamonds, especially in Angola and Sierra Leone mostly. There's so many diamonds underneath the ground, but people have to go get them. Well, the militia that kind of control the government and the people run these diamond mining zones, and they enslave people to go get these diamonds and bring them to the diamonds, and then they put it forth into the processing to get sold to industrialized nations. Now, unfortunately, these people have been enslaved and most times killed if they didn't bring them money. Well, the UN decided we should do something about this. In 2002, the UN decided to do something about this. They created this thing called the Kimberley Processing Certification Scheme. What this does is it ensures that that where they are finding the diamonds, there needs to be complete documentation for it, and that because of this documentation, none of the workers can be enslaved. But due to these broad rules that they have, they found loopholes around them, and it kind of makes the situation even worse. So now, instead of them being enslaved, they get paid for the labor that they do, but they only get paid if they bring them diamonds, or if they don't find anything for the day, they just have to go back home and hope for food and money the next day. So it's horrible, the situation that's going on right now. This problem, because of the militia not being able to provide documentation in Angola and Sierra Leone, the problem has pretty much been solved there. Less conflict diamonds or blood diamonds have been put into the mainstream. especially America, because of the certification scheme, can't buy or can't collect these diamonds to put throughout their jewelry stores because of this scheme. So it kind of stopped there. But along the Ivory Coast, the militia is more incorporated into the government, so it allows them to falsify some documentation, which is kind of really horrible. It's allowed a lot of diamonds to still get brought into the whole process that have been brought by enslaved children, mostly children that are working in these mines, and especially women and children. Because there's such a high demand, and the effect that it has on countries like Angola and Sierra Leone, I provided a nice solution to keep the demand as low as possible. There's these things called synthetic diamonds, and I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it's pretty interesting. What happened, according to How Stuff Works, this company, what laboratories do is they emulate the heat and pressure in the Earth's mantle, and they create these diamonds. So they're man-made. They're also known as synthetic diamonds, also known as man-made diamonds. Now, what happens is they heat up. They emulate the heat and pressure that happens in the Earth's crust. And what happened over hundreds of years of time to create a real diamond, in laboratories they can make it in over a period of weeks, right? Except when you find these diamonds, and they sell them, and they're $24,000 for an 18-karat ring. For in this example, one of the rings is around $24,000 got sold for $800. It looks exactly the same, but it's made under the same conditions, just in less amount of time. So the only difference really is just time. I mean, I don't see the big need. If you want a diamond, it's still a diamond, but you ain't got to worry about all this stuff happening and where the diamond came from. You don't have to think about all the the sad things that are happening to the children in Africa, mining for these diamonds when they can be made here. Most of the laboratories are here in America and in Europe as well, which are the Western Europe, or the more industrialized societies. Real colored diamonds, like colored diamonds that are actually real, the ones that have like a tint to it, a hue, they're very rare. But this process can make these types of diamonds and sell them for still very cheap. Well, I mean, not very cheap, because they go up to $1,000. But I mean, compared to $30,000, $18,000 for something, a necklace, an earring, which is mostly what all you girls want anyways, right? You guys like gifts on Christmas or something like that. It's very, very cost efficient. So the only difference between these two diamonds really is time, and the lives that are being that are at stake through this process. I hope that over the course of this speech I've kind of informed you enough so you can actually think about this in the future. And I want to leave you with an image. There's a boy. He couldn't find enough diamonds for the day. So when he went to the guy that he had to turn it into, and told him that he doesn't have enough, he didn't bring what he asked for, they chop off his hands. And so there's a boy who, if you could see the image, I know we're not allowed to have visual aids, but I mean, it's probably one of the saddest images you can see. His boy's just sitting there like this, kind of looking at the camera with no hands. He has no hands. I mean, this is the stuff that's going on. And I thought that I'd go back to one of the first quotes that I said, diamonds are forever, but lives are not. So thank you.
All right, Vincent, what did you think?
Initially, I didn't know what the speech was going to be about. I knew the topic was on diamonds, but it took me a while to figure out that the controversy with diamonds is what's happening in Africa. So if you could have said that early on, it would have been a lot easier to follow, because I felt like you were leading us down the wrong track, but I got back on the track when you started with your first point with, I I think it was your second point with all the